of a deck that arrived just over a month ago, and today I finally opened it, and that is the Light Seers deck. This deck is by Chrisanne, and the one I have is from Hay House. Hay House is the editorial on this deck. So the Light Seers Tarot, let's get to take a look at it. The box is a nice big sturdy box, and a really good box to have for a tarot deck because you can lift it open and put your cards in without having the struggle of trying to fit your cards in to the regular pack. So it's a really nice sturdy deck that Hay House have done with this deck. And we have the little white book is really well worked. It's more like a mini book rather than a little white book. We have the cover on the front, a lot of information on the inside. It goes through card by card, and they've also got in here a few spreads, quite a few spreads. So it's a really good little white book to actually, I mean, I don't really read the little white books, but this would be quite nice to have in your bag, and if you're waiting for someone or you've got an extra 5 minutes somewhere to kill, you can just pick out this book and have a little read. It's quite cute. And then we get to the cards now. I fell in love with these cards when I saw them on the internet for the first time, and me and my daughter couldn't wait to get them, and we jumped onto Amazon and got them from Amazon. But on arrival, as you can see, they've got these beautiful backs, nice black backs with the green. But I have to say, the cardstock already, I've noticed it's a really big letdown. I'm quite surprised Hay House has done such terrible cardstock for such beautiful cards, which we're going to see in a moment. I think when you're doing tarot cards, you know, we're not talking about just people who have a collection of tarot cards and people who are into this as a hobby. There's a lot of tarot readers that work many hours every day with a deck of cards in their hands, and stock like that is not going to cut it. It just, I mean, that's going to last me nothing. This kind of cardstock isn't going to last me very many readings at all. I believe the first production of this deck was self-produced, and I've had a little research of why this cardstock is so bad, and I believe that when the artist brought out this deck, the cardstock was far better. So that means that the fault is at Hay House. Hay House, message from me, don't spend that much on the boxes and the books, rather spend it on the cards. If you're going to cut cost, don't cut the cost on the quality of the cards, which is what the tarot reader needs. For me to be able to do my job with this deck, I need a better quality of cardstock. So, ran over, apart from the disappointing cardstock, let's have a look at these cards. So, I love the way that we've got no borders, because I'm massive on borderless decks. I absolutely love borderless decks. But I also love the way that the artist has just wrote down at the bottom the name of the cards. So the Knight of Wands, it's kind of like handwritten Knight of Wands. I think that's a really cute detail. And we can see the whole things going on that you would expect to see in the Wands cards. You've got the fire and you've got the horse in the background. The Star card. The brief look I've actually seen of these cards, you can already tell it's got layer upon layer, and I'm really looking forward to doing my first reading with this deck, because I feel like it's going to be one of those decks where I can really get into. I love the images, and the people on these cards just look like people I know. They look like people, they remind me of friends and family members and people I've met over the years. So, they're very modern. And at the same time, one thing I love about this deck, this is the 10 of coins. But the one thing I love about this deck is how very modern it is, and at the same time you can still tell, you can still see the traditional kind of Rider-Waite, a little bit of fluff in there, but you can still see the kind of traditional tarot path. So it doesn't really matter about the wording at the bottom. You can tell this is the 9 of coins. And you can do that with all the cards, basically. The 8 of coins. The details that have gone into this deck is amazing. And the lightness, all the little bright lights, all the stars, all the energy light. I absolutely love the energy that's going on in this card. I mean, this guy, I'm sure I know him. You know, it's one of those phases where, and I find that with a lot of these cards from this artist, that feels like I know the people. Like, yeah, I think I know him. I've met him before somewhere. I'm sure I have. You know, this is the 7 of coins, which is basically what you sow, you're going to reap. And you can see him waiting for his tree to kind of grow. It's just an amazing different take. But you can tell just by looking at it, oh yeah, so reaping what you sow, that's definitely the 7 of coins. You can just tell from a mile away what kind of cards they are. This is the 6 of coins, which I feel could have been worked a little bit more. You know, the colours are amazing, but it could have been worked a little bit more. The 4 of coins. Look at that. You know, she's really holding on to that purse. Nobody's going to get past her to get into that purse. She's keeping what's sacred to her very, very sacred. This King of Swords. Now, the artist, for some reason, has used birds for swords. And I know there's a few swords in the card, like this Queen. That was the King of Swords. And this is the Queen of Swords. Absolutely breathtaking card. Just amazing. And she has the sword in her hand. But saying that, most of the sword cards do have these birds going on in the background. So I'm not too sure. I believe the artist had a bit of a change with this card where she did it once and then she changed it to this one. I'm not sure really what was going on there with that story. But I do know that what we're left with is a bunch of birds. So I would have personally preferred the swords. But it works, it's amazing, and it's certainly not a fault. I think it's just a different way of looking at the swords. You see, this is the 9 of Swords, and instead of her lying in a bed, she's lying on the ground. But the artist has still put the pillar there to represent that bed. So we've still got that 9 of Swords feeling that we know from a Rider-Waite type deck going on. The 8 of Swords, trapped by these birds. And these birds are really a bit different. Feathers, obviously it's the feathers, the birds representing air, representing swords. But it's still not quite the same as seeing a sword. Get that? You know, I'm sure I know half of these people. It's just a shame about the cardstock. Look at that cardstock. It's already kind of bending on me. The 3 of Swords. We haven't got the free stores going through the heart like we used to see, and I do like to see the drama in the 3 of Swords, but that's just my personal taste. And then we've got like the Page of Swords has got light bulbs. Now light bulbs would actually make more sense to me than the birds. You know, that the whole turning on the light, having a new thought, having new ideas. I think that's a fantastic card. There's so many beautiful cards in this deck. I could do a review for, you know, an hour. And I wouldn't do that, dear. The King of Cups. Oh, he just looks like the King of Cups. He is the kind of King of Cups that, in my mind, I see a King of Cups looking like that. You know, and you've got the water going on in the background to represent the cups, and that whole feeling with him, that peaceful feeling. He looks faithful, he just looks friendly. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Queen of Cups. You know, I'm sure I know this guy as well. These faces on these cards, most of them, I'm like, I know this guy, yeah, I've met him before. And for the artist to be able to use that power of finding something new, turning it around, making it beautiful inspirational, dramatic, all these light colours, all this energy flowing from it, and at the same time still keeping it traditional enough that we can tell from a mile away which card is which. You know, this is the rainbow from that Ten of Cups, and you can see, you know, instead of the rainbow just being the typical rainbow, it's kind of like wrapped around him. How amazing is that? Just spectacular. The Eight of Cups, leaving behind, walking away, and again you've got these lights going on. The Light Seer's deck tarot is definitely the perfect name for this deck of cards, and this has got to be definitely one of my favourite cards, the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups talks about nostalgia and the past and memories, and look what we have here, a man with his dog remembering, and these are little dog bowls, remembering when he was a boy and his dog was a pup. I mean, can you get a nicer card than that? I don't think so. Absolutely stunning. This is for sure already one of the decks that I've fallen in love with. The Judgment card. And, you know, if any other company ever did this deck in a better quality, I would jump at the chance to buy it. Absolutely jump at it. The Page of Wands. I mean, look at this. This is the Eight of Wands, and normally we get the Eight Wands that are taking off, or we get an image of the Eight Wands that are kind of landing. So the Eight Wands are always active and going in the air, one direction or the other. But in this one, it's a totally different perspective of the Eight of Wands in the air. It's as if you're underneath them, looking up at them Eight Wands. It's just a completely different perspective. And to see all that light in the background, it's absolutely breathtaking. Breathtaking, the beauty in this card. I mean, I would gladly have this card as a picture. I really would. I think it's just amazing. You know, she's like in this bubble, in this crystal ball type thing. The Seven of Wands, she's just protected. She's keeping herself protected. She's got her aura going on in protection. The Six of Wands, that victory, that triumph, that public triumph. Let me get some major cards going on. Two of Wands. Oh, look at this. This is the Devil card. You see, like, he's opening his hand out in temptation to you. And he's also got this, you know, puppet on a string in his hand. The Temperance card. I really think it'd be very, very, very hard for somebody not to fall in love with this deck. That's the Death card, the Rebirth that it's got named here. A stunning card, absolutely stunning. Let's have a look, the Hermit. The Strength card. So we have the Lion here. So she's got half the faces of a lion, half the face is a beautiful woman. But we do have that infinite sign as a tattoo on her arm. So we're not losing any of the signs. The Chariot card. Breathtaking. The Lovers. The Pope. Not totally convinced about this one. I'd have to have a little think about this. I haven't used this deck yet. I'm waiting to use it. I'm waiting to get into the layers. I'm waiting to let my inspiration be turned on. But I haven't used it yet. We've got this light just drawing through with these little stars. I love the way the artist does that. And you know, the ankh that he normally has in his hand, this is the Emperor card. He normally has that Egyptian ankh in his hand. This time he's got it as a tattoo on his arm. I mean, how amazing is that? And with all the decks I have, and I do have a lot of decks, I think this is definitely, without doubt, one of the most beautifulest Empress cards that I have in any deck. Not only do I love to see a pregnant Empress, but to see that she's pregnant and there's a planet as a pregnant stomach, you know, this whole world is in her stomach. Just really touches me. I think it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And her face, you know, so it's got everything I love. It's got the pregnant lady. It's also got Mother Nature. It's got everything combined. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful card. The High Priestess. The colours, stunning. You know, this psychic. They're the kind of colours I absolutely love to see in the High Priestess card. And again, these lights. The way this artist gets the lights is amazing. The magician, his infinite sign is on the hood of his jacket. The Fool. And you know, this is a card that starts all the journey off. And she's kind of leaning back, about to fall into the water without consequences, without thinking about the risk, without really any stress. You know, it's kind of like this blind trust. And she's got this amethyst in her hand. She's holding tight to her amethyst. She's got a staff in the other hand. And it's like, I'm doing this. I'm jumping off this cliff and nobody's going to stop me. And hi, here I go. That's kind of, you know, that's the kind of impression this gives. And that is really what the Fool does, you know. He goes and he's like, well, I'm doing it. And that's basically it. You've got the King of Wands. Again, you know, one of those faces where I'm sure we all know a guy who looks like that. We all kind of, you know, is he the neighbour? Is he my friend? Is he, you know, is he my best friend's boyfriend? It's just that face that looks very, very familiar, the King of Wands. And we've got that lion in the background representing that King of Wands. So we've got all the symbolism is there, but just in a totally different way. And the very last card is the Tower of Destruction. And, you know, it's not as dramatic as we used to see in. But yeah, his home seems to be being destroyed. We've got the lightning bolt. But it's definitely not as dark as we're normally used to seeing the tower. But for this deck, which is quite a beautiful, softer deck, it is one of the, you know, the house is being destroyed with all the little animals inside. So yeah, I love this deck. Absolutely love this. Ooh. Absolutely love this deck of cards and looking forward to working with it. If you do like this deck of cards, let me know in the comments below if you've used it. If you've used it for a while, if you're a tarot reader and you've used it for a while and you bought it from Hay House, well, or you've got it, the company's Hay House behind it, let me know how you got on with the card stock, because already, although I've just taken them out of the box today, I'm already seeing some weird stuff going on there. So just let me know. So, if you do like this deck, just let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching this short opinion of this beautiful deck of cards. If you like this channel, don't forget to hit subscribe, click like, and feel free to share me around social media, on your Facebook page, on your blogs, etc., wherever you want, so other people can find me. Thank you very, very much, and I'll see you in the next one.